What's up, my Central Unit? It's the Central Man here, so back again with another classic WWE pay-per-view review. So this weekend marks the 10-year anniversary of a pay-per-view I'm going to review right now. That is WWE Extreme Rules 2012 at the All-State Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, or Chicago, Illinois, on the 29th of April 2012. The attendance for the show was 14,817. Extreme Rules 2012 received about 263,000 pay-per-view buys, a upgrade than the previous year's pay-per-view, that is Extreme Rules 2011. It was at Tampa, Florida. The main event of that show was The Miz defending the WWE Championship against John Cena and John Morrison in a triple threat steel cage match. John Cena to defeat The Miz and John Morrison to win the WWE title. I think it was for the 8th time. He went on to win 2 more, become a 10-time champion at the time. And Cena on the same night announced that the death of Osama bin Laden. And also the same night you had Christian defeat Alberto Del Rio in a ladder match to win the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. And also the debut of Karma. And by the way, Extreme Rules 2011 received about 209,000 pay-per-view buys. Wow, it's really, this show, pay-per-view buy rate is an upgrade than the previous year's Extreme Rules show. Anyway, the commentators for Extreme Rules 2012 are Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and Booker T. So, a quick result of the kickoff show match. So yeah, you had Santino Marella defended and retained the United States title against The Miz. Wow! It's just simply wow that's, the previous year's pay-per-view, his main event, Extreme Rules, and then 1 year later he's on the kickoff show match on YouTube. I'm not keen on kickoff show matches, I wish they stopped it and just go back to doing dark matches, but that's not really going to happen. Anyway, so the first match to kick off Extreme Rules 2012, we had Randy Orton taking on Kane. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match. So at WrestleMania, it's been, been a month since I reviewed WrestleMania 28. So Kane won the first match at Mania 28. So then they upped the ante, get involved of their fathers. You had I think it was the Legends episode of SmackDown. You had Kane attack Randy Orton's father, Cowboy Bob Orton, and then Orton kidnapped Paul Bearer and put him in a meat locker. And yeah, Kane basically killed him for the second time. This is technically Paul Bearer's last ever WWE TV appearance before his passing the following year in 2013 at the age of 58. Anyway, so the match was fun. Not a great Falls Count Anywhere match, Falls Count Anywhere matches, there could be like a hit or a miss. I think it was fun. They were fighting, I don't think in our current timeline they did like a Falls Count Anywhere match, I don't think they did it in recent years, in my knowledge. Anyway, so they were fighting around the crowd. They were fighting in some kind of like a room, must be like not a locker room, but kind of like some kind of small room. You other wrestlers who not book on the show watching the entire show. Yeah, Zack Ryder got involved, hitting Kane because, here's a reminder, because Kane chokeslammed Zack Ryder through the stage. This was way back in January, injuring the back, I don't know if he injured his back in real life, but I think that's just a kayfabe injury. Anyway, so trying to get his revenge on Kane, the Big Red Monster. Yeah, it was a good cameo appearances and trying to keep it short and simple. Orton did like his DDT onto the announce table. I think it was in the English speaking announce desk onto Kane. Trying to keep it short and simple. In the end, Kane was going for like the Tombstone Power Driver onto Orton on the chair. Orton counted it, hit the RKO on that chair to win this match. Basically, it was bragging rights. I don't think they had a blow-off to the feud. Maybe they had one more match, but this was the end of the rivalry because Orton was kind of like in a mid-card feud. I think he was in the world title match, the following month at Over the Limit, and then that was his only world title match of his year before. He's mostly in mid-card feuds against Ziggler and Del Rio, Big Show, before he be in the world title picture again the following year in 2013. Kane wound up being this love triangle storyline with CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and AJ Lee. That's another story for another time. So the next match, this should never be on this show. We got Dolph Ziggler taking on the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay with Cameron and Naomi, the Funkadactyls. In Ziggler's corner, you had Vicky Guerrero and Jack Swagger. Why they put this in this pay-per-view match beats me. Try to keep it short and simple. This was Brodus Clay's first ever pay-per-view match. His first pay-per-view appearance was at WrestleMania 27 the previous year in 2011. He was the bodyguard of Alberto Del Rio in Del Rio's match with Edge for the world title, and then he took some time. Yeah, he basically got repackaged. My fear I think he got punished for Edge. His neck injury that led him to retire for 9 years. Anyway, so he came back as the Funkasaurus in I think it was September, October the previous year in 2011. Yeah, he came back at that segment of WrestleMania 28. Don't want to talk about it because I don't talk segments in pay-per-views just do not work. So I don't know why they've been feuding. This is kind of like filler. You just no build. Kind of a throwaway type of match. Anyway, trying to keep it short and simple. I'm rambling, by the way. So Ziggler had some offense. In the end, Brodus Clay did that headbutt. I think he did the splash for the win. You could tell the fans were booed. They were cheering for Ziggler. Ziggler was over at this moment in time compared right now in our current timeline, but times have changed. They were booing Brodus Clay, the future Tyrus in TNA and the NWA. I think he's still wrestling in that company right now. I think he hit the splash. I think it was the headbutt. Maybe he didn't hit the splash. I can't remember. So, yeah, Brodus Clay got the win, I'm trying to say. And that was it. So, moving on. So, the next match, this is a tables match for the Intercontinental Championship. The Big Show defended the Intercontinental Championship against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 28 the previous month. Or at the end of the month, WrestleMania was on the 1st of April. This show was on the 29th. So, a couple of weeks ago at WrestleMania, this is way back in 2012, Big Show defeat Cody Rhodes to win the IC Champion title. First one in his career. I don't know, I think he became the first every guy to win every single title in WWE instead of the hardcore title. Or maybe the European title. I think he won the European title. I don't know. Anyway, so, Cody was doing the whole, embarrassing the Big Show because he didn't have his WrestleMania moment. So the roles had reversed. Cody, Big Show, in my knowledge, did Cody's embarrassing moments. He kind of bringing up his beauty tips because, during, Cody was doing the Dashy Cody Rose gimmick way back in 2010. So this was announced on, I think it was announced on the kickoff show match that, Cody spin the wheel, guessing what's match stipulation for the IC title match, and it was a tables match. So, match sucked. I don't really call it sucked. This was forgettable. Big Show had mostly the offense. Cody had some offense. I like the WrestleMania 28 match better, but that's not saying too much. So this is John Cena Sheamus tables match 2.0 because this was a fluke. So really a bullshit finish. Not bullshit finish. This was a crap finish, I'm trying to say. So Cody dropkicked the Big Show, and Big Show accidentally stepped on the table. That means Big Show went through the table, and Cody won the IC title. Why? This is similar to, like I said, I say reason why I say this is John Cena Sheamus tables match 2.0. Sheamus win against John Cena was a fluke because he didn't really literally put Cena through the table. Cody didn't really put the Big Show through a table. He just basically drop kick. Big Show stepped on the table, and that was it. So Big Show got his reputation, chokeslam Cody through a table, and that was it. That was it. So this was Big Show's last pay-per-view match as a babyface before he turned heel for the 1000th time at Over the Limit. I'll get to that part at the end of this review. So Cody, yeah, won the IC title for the second time. This was his second IC title win. I think it's his, yeah. I don't think he won another IC title ever again in his first run in the company. No, I don't think he won it when he was Stardust. But anyway, so he ended up dropping the IC title a month later to Christian. Christian won the Battle Royal in the kickoff show match at Over the Limit, and then Christian went on to win the IC title at the same night. So yeah, this was, I don't call it the beginning of the end of Cody Rhodes, but wow, yes, it's more like the best of times and the worst of times for Cody Rhodes in his second half of his first run in the WWE. So the next match, this is technically I really call it match of the night for me. We got Sheamus defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Daniel Bryan in a 2 out of 3 pinfalls match, I'm trying to say. So yeah, at WrestleMania 28, Sheamus defeated Daniel Bryan for the world title in 18 seconds. Bryan dumped AJ Lee as his, well, really AJ at this moment in time. She become AJ Lee later on in the summer of 2012. You know, she dumped AJ as, you know, as a girlfriend because, you know, AJ and Daniel Bryan were kayfabe boyfriend and girlfriend, so that led to AJ slowly become the crazy chick. So I'm guessing on the go home show, Bryan injuring the arm and the shoulder of Sheamus to get some heat for this match. So, and it's funny, there was one promo. I don't really talk about promos in my pay-per-view reviews. So Bryan basically healed up the Chicago crowd because you could tell Bryan was super over as a heel. You know, because the yes chants was getting so over. You know, it's over like gangbusters at this moment in time. So Bryan basically called, you know, the Chicago fans overrated. It's just like, yeah, it's a way, yeah, I don't know, it's a cheap heat to get some heat, but it's just what it is. So the match was really good, way better than that match at WrestleMania 28. That was more of a moment than an actual match, you know. That really didn't Sheamus dirty. It really didn't do Sheamus any favor, squashing Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds. Anyway, so this match was good, really fun, back and forth. Try to keep it short and simple. You know, I feel like one more of the match. I think Bryan was going for like his running drop kick off the ring apron, but Sheamus captured him. I think he throwed him somewhere, maybe on a barricade or some shit like that. It was really an okay spot. You know, not a fun spot to do it, but anyway, so. The bulks of the match, you had Bryan was working on the injured arm of Sheamus, and by the way, he ended up changing up his submission hold. His original name of his submission hold is the label lock. He called it the yes lock, and then it will become the no lock. Bryan got himself disqualified. He let Sheamus go the first pinfall. You know, kicking his arm in the corner. Then Bryan locked in the yes lock onto Sheamus. At this moment in time, Sheamus never tapped out. I think the only person tapped Sheamus out was Bobby Lashley last year. You know, locked in the hurt lock. So Sheamus passed out from the yes lock. He was going near the rope, but he passed out. So Sheamus equalized 1-1. I think Bryan kicked out of the first bro kick. But you know, I'm glad they did it for the best. You know, I thought like, oh, you know, one bro kick and that was the end, but it wasn't. So in the end, Sheamus going for the hits Bryan for the second bro kick to win this match and retain the World Heavyweight title. At this point in time, I forgot to mention, like, the fans were booing Sheamus, and I forgot to mention this in the start of this review. This is the first WWE pay-per-view at the Allstate Arena, or particularly the first WWE event at the Allstate Arena in Chicago since Money in the Bank of the previous year in 2011. You know, when this was the CM Punk show. You know, go and check my review of WWE Money in the Bank 2011. You know, that was a good show. I think, in my opinion, the best WWE pay-per-view of the modern era. You know, of today. Anyway, so yeah, Sheamus retained the title. I think it was the right call having Bryan kicked out of two bro kicks. because if they did the bro kick thing, that would be a bad finish. But yeah, as for Daniel Bryan, he'll never got one sniff of the world title, the original big gold belt ever again, because the big gold belt, I'm talking about the world title, by the way, will end up reunited with the WWE title, at the end of the following year in 2013. So he won his another world title again, the following year in 2013 when he defeated John Cena for the WWE title. It kicked off the Authority era in WWE. Don't want to get in that. That's another story for another time. So Sheamus went on to have a lengthy reign as the world champion until dropping the world title to the Big Show at Hell in a Cell later on in the year. So, and Bryan went on to have really had a good year for Dan Bryan. He ended up involved in this storyline with AJ Lee, feuding with CM Punk, and Team Hell No. So the next match, this is a handicap match. So we got what was his name? Aaron Relic and Jay Hatton. He's not related to Ricky Hatton, by the way. Taking on Ryback. This is Ryback's first pay-per-view match. He was Skip Sheffield, part of the Nexus. The first season of NXT and part of the Nexus group. Then he basically got injured. His leg, missed 2 years, and then they repackaged him as Ryback. He's on kind of not unbeaten streak, but this is the start of the Ryback push. So I'm trying to keep it short and simple. This is more like calming down the fans after after the Sheamus Bryan match. So nothing much. Basically a squash match. Ryback just hits I don't know who they are. I don't care what they are. They're just jobbers. One hit him with the clothesline. The meat hook. I think it's called the meat hook clothesline, and the shell shock. I think he hit a stunner on one of them. I think it was on Hatton or Relic. Ryback wins, and that was it. So yeah, I'm gonna say it right now before moving on to the next match. That was the Chicago Street Fight. They missed the boat on Ryback, man. Ryback was so marketable, and man, I feel like he should never be in that WWE title picture later on in the year. I think it ruined Ryback. It was too much too soon. I don't want to get into it. So yeah, it's a shame. I think Ryback says he doesn't want to leave WWE because I think certainly the doctors give him something for his shoulder, and it's kind of like something's eating away from his muscles. Go and find it. Go and type in why Ryback leaves WWE. I thought it was just being a dick, bury John, talking shit towards John Cena, but that was not the case. So I don't want to get into it more, but yeah, it was what might have been. So let's move on. So anyway, so the next match, we got the Chicago Street Fight for the WWE Championship. We got CM Punk defending the WWE title against Chris Jericho. This is all about, exposing, Jericho exposed Punk for what he is. Punk is straight edge, he doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs. Jericho called, basically this accusations his dad was an alcoholic. It's kind of true. Go watch CM Punk's documentary. His sister is a drug addict, and he was married. Basically was born on the same date as his parents' wedding. Some shit like that. I think they're not gonna say, "Oh, you're the bastard child," something like that. Because to this day they still PG, but they up the ante. Jericho's pouring beer around CM Punk's body. That was basically some good heat, and also this has turned out to be one of the most personal rivalries in WWE history in the current years. In the modern era. It's debatable, but on the Go Home show, he had this police test. If Punk's drunk or not, but he's putting on the act, so that was cool. Anyway, so the match was good. I really enjoyed this match between Punk and Jericho. You had Punk's family in the crowd. You had, I can't see his dad. You see his sister, and I think the woman with the makeup is basically Punk's manager. In CM Punk's days in Ring of Honor. I watched the documentary. It's not like maybe it's Punk's first like girlfriend before AJ Lee, but I don't know. But Jericho grabbing. I think Punk did no. I think Jericho one time talked towards Punk's family. It was really good, back and forth. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Punk like basically put Jericho through the announce table with the just a normal splash. He was about to lock in the I think there was sometimes Punk was trying to hit Jericho with the GTS. Jericho countered it. Punk locked in the Araconda Defiance, the same submission hold. He defeats Jericho at WrestleMania. This time Jericho hit Punk with the candlestick. Fire extinguishers. Try to keep it short and simple. In the end, I think Punk basically catapults Jericho into the exposed turnbuckle. Hit the GTS for the win. Punk retains the title. And it's on the shock note that this is Jericho's last. Jericho never got a single touch of the WWE title ever again in his wrestler's career. Never in the WWE title picture. Wow, it's his last. Yeah, this is definitely his last WWE title match. In his run in WWE. He's never like challenged for the world title ever again. That's on a side note. This is the final meeting between Punk and Jericho probably until 2013 at Payback, because the first Payback pay-per-view was at the same arena, the Allstate Arena, and Punk won that match, and never fought ever again. They might fight again, because at this moment in time, in our current timeline, they're both now in AEW, who knows, so, they went on to their separate things in 2012 and beyond, so... For the next match, this is for the Divas title. We had Nikki Bella with Brie Bella, her sister, defending the title against the mysterious opponent, and that was Layla. We'll get to that shortly. So on the Go Home show to Raw, remember Nikki Bella at this moment in time, she was not with John Cena at the time, without the big tits. Defeat Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix suffered like a knee injury or a leg injury. And then on the segment before this match, Eve tell you not competing. So, Bella's calling out the mysterious opponent. And then that's Layla. So, this is Layla's first match since the previous year, Extreme Rules in 2011, after defeating Michelle McCool. That was officially the end of Laycool. She got attacked by Karma. I thought Karma would come back, she's... Basically, her final appearance, on a Monday Night Raw was against the Bellas, confronted by the Bellas. I thought Karma's going to win the title. So, and also for Beth dropping the title on the Go Home show, that was just not surprising, but was just like, I wish she'd drop it on a big pay-per-view. I'm going to talk about her reign before we get to the actual match. Not too much about the actual match, but I think like Beth, maybe it's not a good reign, but I think they're trying to make her like a dominant champion. Maybe it has to do with the talent pool in the Divas division or the women's division wasn't that strong. If she came back right now, she's in good shape right now, I think she could have better matches. She'd probably have another run. This is her one and only reign as the Divas champion. If she came back right now, have another run as whether it's the Raw Women's title, she'd probably have a good dominant run, but who knows? But seeing that dropping the title on the Go Home show to Raw, weak. Yeah, this match between Nikki and Layla. Layla was never known for wrestling, but I think I watched some matches, preparations, for her match on the show. You can tell like she was improved. She improved. I'm not saying she was a ring general. You can tell she was, kind of green before the injury, but when she came back from the injury, she was improving. Not saying good, but improved. She doesn't have the ring technique as a Trish Stratus, but in the end, try to keep it short and simple. Nikki was going for the leg, the injured knee of Layla. She was wearing a knee brace at the time. In the end, Layla countered the twin magic attempts, hit Nikki with the neck breaker to win this match and become the Divas champion for the first time. Came out with, she ended up dropping her theme music, she came out with the Lay Cole / Michelle McCool's theme music, preparing for a match, she ended up dropping it, Anyway, so, was nothing much about it. It was all about Layla winning the title, It's funny, like 2 years later, Nikki ended up winning the Divas title and break AJ Lee, becoming the longest reigning Divas champion. That's debatable, don't want to get into it. So Layla went on to have, she dropped it until September-ish against Eve Torres. Like I said, another story for another time. Let's move on. Main event time. That's why people want to pay to, at the time, watch to see, is John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. This is the Extreme Rules match. This is Brock Lesnar's first wrestling match. Basically, his first WWE match. People say this is his first WWE match since WrestleMania 20 in 2004 against Goldberg. They stink up the place. But this is his first professional wrestling match for 5 years, because he was wrestling in New Japan Pro Wrestling at the time in 2006, 2007. Because at this moment in time, New Japan wasn't the promotion you see right now. It's kind of like on its decline, on its fall, because they were doing shoot fights, MMA fighters against literally pro wrestlers. I don't want to get into it. So Brock became the IWGP World Champion, dropped the belt to Kurt Angle. Then Brock went on to MMA with the UFC, become the world champion. Then he retired due to, he had a disease in his gut. Yeah, he came back the one-off in 2016 against Mark Hunt at UFC 200, but that was the end of his first run in the UFC. He came back. I thought, like, you never see Brock Lesnar in WWE ever again. He left on very bad terms because he wanted to pursue career in the NFL with the Minnesota Vikings. It didn't really pan out for him. So yeah, so he came back the Raw after WrestleMania 28, hit Cena with the F5, and then the following week, Cena slapped Brock, and Lesnar just beat the fuck out of Cena, literally fucked him up with the Cena's mouth busting. He's smiling. He's wow, man. It's just typical Cena. He's just like not selling the injury, not being fucking angry, but. Anyway, so this is the first time, first of many matches of his second run in the company that Brock was wearing MMA attire, with the shorts and the MMA gloves. He literally fucked up John Cena in this match, punches, a lot of Kimura lock attempts, This is the one nitpick about Brock's second run so far in the WWE. People just don't want to see the MMA UFC version of Brock Lesnar. We just want to see old school Brock Lesnar. Before his MMA run, I don't really say Brock was green. I don't say he was perfect. Brock was the technical style wrestler. He wrestled. He's a former amateur wrestler, champion. He's not like he's not terrible, but he was a bit green. But I don't say he's perfect. He was known for his technical style wrestling. He does the suplex, the power moves. But seeing him doing punches and Kimura locks, in his right now he's doing F5s and German suplex, suplex city that shit. But people don't want to see that. People just don't want to see MMA shoot fighting in pro wrestling. This is the reason why like I said, New Japan was on its fall before its revival in the later decades, in the later years, but people just don't want to see shoot fighting. They don't want to see. They just want to see professional wrestling. They don't want to see people getting fucked up for real. They just want to see the scripted entertainment. On the flip side, I think this was a good match. Brock just beat the fuck out of Cena. Cena kind of come back. Yeah, he had moments like the referee kicked out. I think he hit Cena with the F5. Cena kicked out, and Cena and Brock attacked the referee. There's one moment he grabbed Charles Robinson with one hand and put him back in the ring. That was cool. When Brock locked in the Kimura lock onto Cena on the steel steps, I think Cena should have tapped out, man. How the fuck Cena never passed out in this match? Jesus Christ, I was cringing. That was a cringy moment. See Cena's arms about going to this. Cena has big shoulders, but seeing his arms go about to detach off its shoulder joint, shoulder socket. Holy crap, Cena just powered his way out of the Kimura lock. That was cool to see, But yeah, the wrong person gone over. The wrong person got over. Really, one person. What I'm trying to say. I said failed to gone over. Sorry, I'm moving on, man. I'm trying to say something. Yeah, I'm trying to say gone over. Yeah, the wrong person won in this match. That was John Cena. So Cena hit the his chain onto Brock Lesnar because one more of the time Cena locked in the Brock tied Cena's legs onto the chain and kind of hanged him in the trio low onto the ring post. Cena was good. He was selling the punches. He's not he's not selling, but he did sell like screaming. In the end, I think in the end he managed to hit Brock with the AA for the win. Yeah, that was a wrong call. I understand why they did that because Cena just came off losing to The Rock at WrestleMania. I understand it, but the wrong person gone over in this match. So Cena came out. It's basically cuts a promo. It's basically not, you say, deja vu from the previous year's main event. He said, like, he put over the crowd, says, I know it's a CM Punk's town. This is a wrestling town. He said, I need a break. I'm bleeding. I got no left arm. You thought that Cena's going to take some time off after this match, but unfortunately I was wrong because next month at Over the Limit, he ended up having a feud with the boss, John Laurinaitis. This is technically the worst wrestling match of the year and probably of the decade, and then led up to Big Show turning heel for the 5,000th time and set up another John Cena Big Show rivalry. That's another story for another time. Yeah, Brock ended up getting his he ended up facing Triple H, that's next feud, and end up breaking Triple H's arm. The return of Paul Heyman, SummerSlam, WrestleMania 29, Extreme Rules the following year. And then, Cena and Brock end up fighting again 2 years later at SummerSlam for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Brock wins, got his redemption, but I wish, like Brock, he ended up getting his first win against Triple H at SummerSlam later on in the year, but I wish Brock won this match on the show, but it's all going to be all bullshit. If Cena wins, he end up turning heel, but he'll never do that. I don't want to get into it, so. Anyway, so my final rating for WWE Extreme Rules 2012. Boy, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I don't say this. No, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. This was a fun show. A fun show. Not a great show, but a fun show. In the bad, there's no truly bad match in the show. Actually, the one bad match have to be, is Big Show, Cody, tables match for the IC title. A lot of crap on the show, but you got some good. We'll get to that shortly. You had, in the bad, you had Big Show, Cody, tables match. You had Brodus Clay, Dolph Ziggler. Wyatt's in the match on the pay-per-view, beats me. The Layla Nikki Bella match for the Divas title. It was nothing special. It was just Layla. It's all about Layla coming back from the injury. That was just it. That was the bad, but nothing in the okay. But the good is the good. I like the opener. Orton versus Kane in the Falls Count Anywhere match. Sheamus, Daniel Bryan in the Falls Count Anywhere match. That was the match of the night in my opinion. I like the Chicago street fight between Punk and Jericho, and I kind of like the main event between Cena and Lesnar. Besides the one person going over, but I think it's still a good match. Not the match of the night or the match of the year, but it was just what it is. So, anyway, so I hope you enjoyed my review of WWE Extreme Rules 2012. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, the next pay-per-view after I review Extreme Rules 2012 will be going back to 1997 to review Cold Day in Hell, but that will be, you have to wait another 2 weeks for that review. So next time, weeks ago I reviewed Backlash 2002. That was technically the final WWF pay-per-view, so let's review the first pay-per-view of the WWE era. That is Judgment Day 02. This is Central Man Official sign out. Check you later, folks.